Do they always fight like that? A trembling voice whispers through the smoky wreckage, barely audible over the hum of shattered energy fields. No. This is them being merciful. Another replies, calm yet tinged with awe, as molten streaks of plasma carve glowing scars across the night sky. The battlefield is silent now, but every shattered mech and scorched exosuit tells of impossible precision and brutal restraint. Sparks drizzle from torn circuits, and the survivors cling to shadows, questioning if mercy is stronger than fear. Could such beings exist without breaking the world they protect or themselves? Smoke curls around the edges of the ruined plaza as the survivors pick their way through twisted metal. A lone android's voice hums softly, almost mournful. Mercy is a choice, not a weakness. The human scout pauses, glancing at a massive scorch mark that could have erased him in an instant. Somewhere above, the shattered skyline trembles as if the city itself remembers the fight. Shadows stretch unnaturally, hinting at predators beyond vision. The question lingers like a pulse. Who, or what, decides when mercy ends and annihilation begins? The air hums with residual energy, each pulse vibrating through the concrete underfoot. The pilot crouches beside a broken drone, whispering, "They could have ended us easily." A distant vibration rumbles through the city, hinting at movements larger than any human or machine. The android tilts her head, scanning patterns invisible to human eyes, her voice even but curious. Are they testing us, or warning us? Every echo suggests an intelligence beyond comprehension, and every shadow questions the costs of survival. In a world ruled by merciful monsters, in the heart of the ruined city, a faint hum grows louder, vibrating through every shattered building. The scout grips his rifle, breath shallow, as the android steps forward, her lights flickering like distant stars. "They are here," she says, calm yet resolute. Sparks rain from a nearby collapsed tower, yet the survivors do not flinch, instinctively knowing that those who wield mercy do not strike without reason. Every heartbeat matches the resonance of the city, and every pulse carries the impossible question: what is truly merciful, and what is a prelude to devastation? The survivors stop at the edge of a glowing crater, remnants of a mech half buried in molten rock. Silence presses in, thick as smoke, as they witness a faint figure hovering above, part human, part machine, exuding calm power. "Do you think they know we're watching?" the pilot whispers. The android tilts her head, voice barely audible. Perhaps, or perhaps they wish to see if we will choose mercy too. In the distance, the city trembles again, leaving a question that will follow them forever. Can one survive a world that judges mercy as ruthlessly as war? The survivors move through narrow streets, where broken neon signs flicker against wet asphalt, reflecting shards of a city that refuses to die. The scout mutters. Every corner feels watched. The android's eyes hum softly, scanning for energy signatures invisible to the human eye. Somewhere above, the faint echo of colossal engines vibrates through the crumbling skyscrapers. The question lingers: are these guardians, or predators disguised in mercy? The line between salvation and annihilation blurs as shadows stretch unnaturally over cracked concrete. A distant, low hum grows into a resonance that shakes the walls. The pilot grips a scorched exosuit panel for balance, whispering, "It's coming closer, or it's always been here." Sparks from broken circuitry scatter around them, and the android tilts her head, voice steady. They test, they wait, but they do not strike without reason. Each footstep echoes like a drumbeat of unseen judgment, and every shadow hints at forces far larger than the survivors themselves. The city hums a question of morality that even the living cannot answer. The air shivers with tension as the survivors enter a collapsed transit hub. Its walls etched with molten streaks and glowing glyphs, the scout murmurs. It feels alive. The android reaches out toward the glyphs, her fingers brushing air that seems to hum in response. Sparks jump along the floor, illuminating fragments of past battles. Everything here is a test, she says softly, almost to herself. Every pulse of energy, every shimmer of metal, asks a single question. Will Mercy survive humanity's fear? Suddenly, a colossal shadow blots out the flickering neon as the air vibrates with mechanical wings. The pilot gasps, shielding her eyes while the android steps forward calmly. They arrive, she says. The giant mech, serene yet deadly, hovers above. Wings folded like a cathedral ceiling. Sparks from broken structures fall like rain around them. For a heartbeat, time stretches and every survivor feels the impossible weight of Mercy itself. Who decides the fate of those small enough to hide in its shadow? The survivors stand frozen at the edge of a bridge, collapsed into glowing, molten depths. The mech's shadow stretches across the chasm like a promise or a threat. They could end everything in a single strike, the scout murmurs, voice barely audible. The android tilts her head serene. Or they could teach us mercy, if we are worthy. A hush falls over the ruins, as though the city itself is holding its breath, and the survivors sense a single truth. To survive, they must understand mercy before it judges them. The city trembles as the survivors navigate a narrow corridor littered with broken drones and scorched panels. The pilot whispers, "Every step feels like a trap or a test." Sparks drips from exposed conduits above, painting the walls with flickering shadows. The android's gaze is fixed forward, scanning for patterns invisible to humans. They observe. Always, she murmurs. The hum of distant engines vibrates through concrete like a heartbeat. One question lingers. Can mercy exist in a world built on destruction? Or is it the deadliest weapon of all? A massive chamber opens before them, the floor patterned with glowing circuits and glyphs pulsing like a heartbeat. The scout breathes. It's alive. The android steps forward, fingertips tracing the hum of energy flowing beneath the surface. Alive, but not human, she whispers. Shadows stretch unnaturally as the mech guardians hover silently above, their presence serene yet suffocating. Each glow and vibration asks the survivors, "Are you worthy of mercy, or will fear condemn you before you even try?" The first mech descends, wings spanning wider than a skyscraper, and the survivors feel the pulse of its energy through the soles of their boots. They aren't attacking. Yet. The pilot murmurs. Awe and fear intertwine. Sparks drift from its metallic frame like snow, and shadows stretch like living fingers across the chamber. The android tilts her head, voice calm. It decides through observation, not instinct. Every second stretches into eternity as the survivors confront a force that judges mercy as it wields power. Energy arcs crackle across the chamber floor as another mech glides into view, its head tilting toward the survivors with uncanny awareness. The scout whispers, "They know us. Every fear, every hesitation." The android steps closer, her lights reflecting the glow of molten glyphs. "They measure intent," she says softly, "and mercy is the only shield." Sparks shower from broken panels, illuminating the chamber like fleeting constellations. Every movement, every breath is weighed against the silent judgment of beings whose mercy could save or annihilate without warning. At the center of the chamber, the two mechs align above a glowing glyph, their wings forming a cathedral-like arch. Silence dominates, broken only by the hum of energy. The pilot exhales, voice trembling. Do they grant mercy? Or test it? The android's voice is a whisper of certainty. They teach, and they decide who is ready to bear it. Sparks drift like fireflies around them, reflecting off their armor and the molten glyph beneath. Every survivor senses the gravity of the moment. Mercy is not given. It is earned under the watchful eyes of beings beyond reckoning. The chamber vibrates as molten glyphs pulse faster, and the mech's wings ripple with energy. The pilot whispers, "We can't just survive. We have to act." Sparks jump from broken conduits, sizzling against scorched concrete, reflecting in her visor. The android steps forward calmly, eyes glowing brighter. They test courage, not recklessness. Every shadow seems alive, every hum a question. Do you dare to meet Mercy head-on? Or will fear betray you before the choice is made? The first mech lowers a massive claw slowly, measuring the survivors. "It could crush us in a heartbeat," the scout whispers, heart hammering. The pilot steadies her breath, gripping her exosuit panel like a shield. The android tilts her head, voice soft yet unwavering. "Mercy is not passive. It demands understanding." Sparks cascade like fireflies around them, reflecting in metal surfaces. The survivors realize every instinct, every hesitation is part of the test. They must act with clarity or perish. The second mech tilts its head, wings extending fully, casting a cathedral-like shadow over the chamber. The pilot whispers, "It's waiting for something." Sparks drift through the air, curling around their arm. The android steps closer to the glowing glyphs, fingertips brushing the molten circuits. "They demand intent, not fear," she murmurs. The chamber resonates with the weight of judgment. Every heartbeat feels magnified, every decision stretched across the balance between mercy and annihilation. Energy arcs ignite across the glyph floor as the mechs hover silently, wings slicing shadows over the survivors. The pilot shouts, "We have to show them we're worthy." Her voice cracks, but determination shines through. Sparks shower around her like fireflies in a storm. The android steps forward beside her, glowing eyes meeting the mech's gaze. Mercy is earned through courage, not strength. Every motion, every breath becomes a testament. An unspoken plea to survive without compromising the humanity still clinging to their souls. A pulse of energy radiates from the glyphs, and the mechs descend slowly, wings folding like a protective arch. The pilot exhales, voice trembling with awe. "They're granting mercy." The scout nods, wide-eyed as sparks drift around them like falling stars. The android tilts her head, whispering softly, "Mercy is not given. It is recognized." The chamber hums with quiet intensity, a balance of power and restraint. In that moment, the survivors realize mercy is the ultimate test, and survival is the reward for understanding it. The chamber hums with residual energy as the survivors take their first careful steps forward. The pilot's voice trembles. We survived." Sparks drift lazily from the molten glyphs, painting their armor in shifting light. The android tilts her head, scanning the hovering mechs. "Survival is not enough," she says softly. The mech's wings ripple subtly, a silent acknowledgement, as though testing not their strength, but their understanding. The question lingers. Have they truly learned what mercy demands, or only glimpsed it? A low vibration spreads through the chamber as one mech tilts its head, wings extending slowly to cradle the glyph's glow. The pilot whispers, "They're guiding us." The android steps closer, her voice calm. Recognition precedes mercy. They observe what we value, not only what we fear. Sparks drift like embers around them, reflecting in the scorched concrete. Every heartbeat is amplified, every breath a silent pact. The survivors are being judged not for their survival, but for their understanding of restraint and courage. Energy pulses through the glyphs, and a subtle resonance vibrates through the survivor's bones. The scout whispers. It's like it feels alive. The pilot nods, gripping her exosuit panel. The android watches, serene, alive, but measured. Mercy is never passive. It requires courage to embrace it. Sparks swirl upward, illuminating molten reflections on broken panels. The chamber becomes a crucible of judgment, where every choice, every hesitation is weighed by beings who exist beyond fear, yet demand the deepest understanding of restraint. One mech descends slowly, wings folding into a protective arch as if offering passage. The pilot exhales, voice shaky. There. Letting us leave? The android tilts her head, her tone reflective. They do not grant mercy lightly. It must be recognized and embraced. Sparks cascade from overhead conduits, drifting across molten glyphs like fleeting constellations. Every motion, every breath, is a lesson in courage, restraint, and understanding. A living covenant between mortal and machine that the survivors will carry forever. The survivors exit the chamber into the shattered cityscape, the mechs hovering silently behind them as guardians rather than executioners. The pilot glances back, voice trembling. We survived, because we understood. The scout exhales, relief and awe mingling. The android's soft hum fills the air. Mercy is not given. It is recognized and earned through courage and restraint. Sparks drift into the night as the city breathes with faint light, leaving the survivors with one unshakable truth. Understanding mercy is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of survival in a world ruled by forces beyond reckoning. The survivors move through the fractured city, distant fires flickering like dying stars. The pilot whispers, "We've survived, but at what cost?" Sparks drift lazily from overhead power lines, painting shadows across cracked streets. The android scans for energy signatures, voice calm. Mercy observed. Here is but a fraction of what governs this world. Above them, colossal figures move silently across the skyline, wings folding like living architecture. The question burns. How many more judgments have been passed, and how many more will come? A deep vibration shakes the streets as massive shadows glide overhead. They're everywhere. The scout murmurs, gripping his weapon tightly. Sparks from molten rubble illuminate his tense expression. The android tilts her head, calm. Every city, every battlefield is measured. Mercy is a network of judgment, not isolated acts. The survivors pause on a rooftop, watching a dozen massive figures spread across the horizon like silent sentinels. One question dominates their thoughts. Is humanity being tested or prepared? Energy pulses ripple through the air, forming faint, luminous patterns across the cityscape. It's like a network, the pilot whispers, awestruck. Sparks drift from broken power lines, dancing across reflective surfaces. The android steps forward, voice even. Mercy is calculated, every act observed, every hesitation noted. We are part of a larger reckoning. Shadows of colossal wings glide over the survivors, reminding them that survival is no longer local. It is systemic. And the world itself hums with sentient oversight. From a distant tower, a mechanical hum crescendos into a deep resonance that shakes the survivors' bones. The pilot gasps. It's calling them. Sparks and molten debris rise like fireflies, swirling around their feet. The android tilts her head, analyzing patterns of energy. The call is a signal, a gathering. Mercy is coordinated, deliberate. The city trembles under their presence, and the survivors understand a chilling truth. This is no isolated encounter. The Merciful Warriors are part of a global network of judgment that humanity has only just glimpsed. As the survivors stand on the rooftop edge, the city below hums with anticipation. "We thought Mercy was isolated," the pilot murmurs. The scout nods, tension etched into his features. The android's calm voice cuts through the air. "It is everywhere, and we are part of it. Witnesses, participants, and potential arbiters." Sparks drift across shattered streets, reflecting off molten glyphs and distant fires. In that moment, the survivors realize the true scale. Mercy is not a gift, nor a punishment. It is the framework of a world they have barely begun to understand. The city trembles under the weight of coordinated wings and molten energy as the survivors reach the apex of a shattered tower. The pilot whispers, This is the culmination." Sparks rain from fractured conduits, dancing across armor and streets below. The android steps forward, calm and measured. The final test is not survival. It is comprehension. Mercy demands recognition, courage, and intent. Shadows stretch like living fingers, wings casting cathedral-like arches over their heads. One question pierces every thought. Will they act with understanding, or falter in fear? A pulse of energy surges through the city, illuminating every broken street and molten glyph. The pilot exhales, voice trembling. "There, waiting for us to choose." Sparks flicker around their boots, mirrored in reflective panels and molten metal. The android steps closer to the edge, eyes tracing the energy network crisscrossing the city. Mercy is not passive. It is a decision, a responsibility. You cannot claim it. You must embody it. The survivors feel the magnitude of judgment pressing against every instinct, every hesitation amplified into a test of character. The first mech descends slowly, wings folding like a cathedral ceiling, casting a protective shadow over the survivors. "It's letting us act," the scout whispers, awe and fear intertwined. Sparks drift through the air like falling stars, illuminating molten glyphs beneath their feet. The android's voice is calm, firm. Mercy is only given to those who recognize it in themselves. Every heartbeat stretches, every motion weighted with consequence. The city trembles not from destruction, but from the tension of moral reckoning. The second mech tilts its head, observing with silent intelligence, wings forming a protective arch across the apex. The pilot exhales, voice trembling. "We understand. We choose to act with mercy." Sparks swirl upward, catching in their armor and the molten reflections below. The scout nods, tension melting into resolve. The android steps forward, voice soft yet unwavering. Recognition of mercy is the bridge between survival and transcendence. Energy pulses through the city, responding to their choice, and the atmosphere hums with acknowledgement. The survivors descend from the apex into the city streets, now bathed in the soft glow of acknowledgement. The mechs hover silently behind, guardians rather than executioners. The pilot whispers, awe and relief mingling. "We survived, and we understand." The scout exhales, watching sparks drift across molten reflections. The android hums softly. Mercy is recognized, earned, and embodied. This is not the end, it is the beginning. The city trembles with quiet energy, alive with potential, as the survivors step into a world forever shaped by the weight of understanding.